Bitcoin to over $100,000 by the end of this year, and a 100% chance that stocks for this month, for December of 2024, are going to go green. Tom Lee just made some really crazy predictions. He just dropped a brand new interview. Let's dive through it right now.
Our next guest sees the S&P rallying to 6,300 by year end, but says we could be entering what he's calling a zone of hesitation in the next couple of weeks. Joining us now, Tom Lee, Fundstrat Capital Chief Investment Officer and a CNBC contributor. It's good to see you, Tom. I want to talk to you about the bonds 10-year at some point, but you see four reasons why you still expect the S&P to continue to rally in December and maybe to 6,300 by year end. What are the four reasons?
Well, one is seasonality. December historically is a strong month, but when you're up more than 10% in the first half and it's an election year, December's been up 100% of the time. The second is yields have moved down to pre-election levels. You know, the 10-year's at 4.1. That's good for multiple expansion. The third is, I think it's been surprising, but sentiment's actually turned negative the last 2 weeks, even as the markets rallied. To me, that's a contrarian bullish signal. And then finally, we still have those two puts, the Trump put and the Fed put. And I think that means you still want to buy any of these dips.
What can Trump do to make sure the market keeps going up?
Well, I think we've seen it with how he's made cabinet proposals or nominations, that he's very pro-business. And I think, as many have said, Trump is very focused on the stock market. So I think communication is still a strategy, and it's a reminder that animal spirits could come back.
I don't know if you watch the way the financial, say this tactfully, I don't know if you watch the way the financial media industry covers tariffs. I mean, how can you call him pro-business, according to these people, when he's pro-tariffs? Because you would just think, you know, if you watch the coverage of tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a reminder that it's good to carry a big stick, and I think tariffs have proven to be a good negotiating tool. I think we've seen some proactive actions by other countries. And in general, I don't think the new White House wants to pursue any policies that would hurt corporate profits. So I think ultimately, whatever is accomplished is going to be pro-business.
That's interesting. All right, I hope everybody's listening. Whenever we talk about like the 10-year, it's always well, it'd be good this way, but it would be bad this way. If it is falling, which is good for multiple expanding, why isn't that indicating that maybe the economy isn't as strong as we thought, and that maybe corporate profits won't hold up their end of the multiple expansion on one hand, but sometimes that's combined with a slowing in profit growth?
It is a possibility, and it's always hard to tell what the bond market is telling us. But when I look at the next 6 to 12 months, and we know the Fed wants to reduce the cost of capital for homeowners in mortgages and for small business owners, having the 10-year stay at these levels or even fall is actually an easing of financial conditions. So to me, that's a good sign.
Do you want to, we always get a Bitcoin comment from you before we let you go normally. It got stuck under 100. That's a pretty, it's a psychological level, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think some of this could be, there's a lot of folks who don't want Bitcoin over 100,000, and some of it may be the exchanges themselves are concerned because there is a pretty low supply of Bitcoin available over the counter. So you have a supply shortage, and if Bitcoin makes a move above 100,000, I think there'd be a big chase. So I'm still confident Bitcoin's going to close much higher before year end.
Before year end?
Before year end, yeah.
So break $100,000 before the end of the year?
Yeah, well above 100,000 before year end. It's just a matter of time.
It's December 2nd. It's not that long, Tom. So it's going to do it in the next 4 weeks.
Tom makes bold short-term
I know,
calls.
You're nuts, and they all come. Usually they come true. You're on a roll. All right, Tom Lee, thank you.
All right, so let's break all this down in my 100% free Alpha Report. We're going to go through issue 20 for what's going on right now in the stock market. So usually up here on the top, start with the heat map, biggest winners and losers for the day. Fear Greed Index, so right now we're at 57 at the time of recording. I like to see this in the neutral or even the fear category over here, because when it's on this side of the equation over here, the stock market's probably on a dip, it's probably on sale, there's probably some good discounts out there. So right now we are slightly into the greedy category. So it's kind of like we could either swing higher or lower on the stock market. It's not really one way or the other, but checking out some economic updates from today. So the 30-year fixed rate mortgage unchanged 6.71%. The 10-year bond is at 4.18. It dropped a little bit from yesterday. And the ADP jobs report for November just came out. We added 146,000 jobs in November. We were expecting 166. And that made the chance of getting an interest rate cut of 25 basis points in December of 79%. This was viewed as a weaker jobs report, which signals a slowing labor market. And when this happens, it is implied that the Fed is probably going to cut rates faster to try to support the economy because we don't want to go into a recession. And a way to try to prevent a recession is just to lower interest rates to try to respark the economy. But the reason why, and this is kind of goes in line with what Tom Lee was talking about, I kind of go with Tom Lee and then I kind of go against Tom Lee. And it's like most people are probably going to get destroyed in the stock market. And it's so obvious right now. And when we look at this with 2020 hindsight, maybe in a couple years from right now, you're probably going to understand exactly what's going on. Of course, I could be wrong, but I can't tell you how many people right now are sending me DMs saying, I want to buy into the stock market. I want to YOLO call options. I want to buy into XRP. I want to buy into Bitcoin. I want to buy into Solana. All these crazy cryptos, all these crazy stocks that have super high valuations. People only want to buy into this stuff just because they're going up in price. I mean, right here, like I just said, why was nobody talking about XRP or Bitcoin 3 months ago when the price was much lower? I know why, because it wasn't pumping straight up. And now that it's pumping straight up, people just want to go throw their money at it and hope they get a next 10 or 1000x. They read an article online saying XRP is going to go to $1,000 a coin. And I'm like, dude, do you understand how to calculate the market cap of something? Do $1,000 a coin times the total outstanding supply of XRP. You're going to come to a number that is bigger than the entire United States economy and all the other economies of the world combined. It's literally not possible. Get it through your head. But people do that. They think it's going to go to 1,000. I can pretty much promise you, at least in our lifetime, it's not going to go to 1,000 unless something like crazy changes or they burn a bunch of the supply or something like that. But people just like to YOLO in, and when they YOLO in, more people YOLO in, and then more people YOLO in, and they buy, and that's how the price of anything goes up. That's how stocks work. That's how crypto works. It's just fear and greed, and people are being greedy right now in stocks and crypto. Not so much, I mean, they are greedy in stocks, but it's way more greed in crypto right now. A lot of it's on the back of Trump being more crypto friendly, but I mean, how much can Trump really do for crypto? I mean, it's not like if Kamala would have won, she was going to go straight up and ban crypto. It's the same thing, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I mean, you guys know I have one Bitcoin. That's the only crypto that I have. I'll never sell it. That's like my doomsday, world comes to an end, aliens abduct us, whatever situation. I bought it a while ago. I'm just going to hold it forever. Who knows? We'll see what happens with it. And I mean, human nature doesn't change. It's like people just YOLO in, they buy the tops, they buy high, and then they sell low. That's why most people will get destroyed in a stock market. But remember, we're trying to buy low and sell high. And then people are going to be like, Brandon, why are you so bearish? And I'm like, dude, I have like $2 million long the market right now. When you go long the market, that means like you want the stock market to go up. I'm positioned to capitalize on the upside. And if the stock market goes down, I'm going to go down with it. But it's like, am I adding a bunch of call options and selling a bunch of put options right now? Absolutely not. I feel like there's a lot of companies out there that are overvalued. And if the stock market happens to take a dip, those companies that are disconnected from the fundamentals, they're probably going to get smoked. So definitely be careful. Understand what you're buying into at the valuation level that you're buying into at. And right now, you should definitely expect volatility in the stock market. I promise you that if Trump throws on a bunch of tariffs, that is bad for the stock market. That is bad for our economy in the short term. In the long term, yeah, it could be good for America, but the stock market usually only looks forward like 1 year. Maybe the tariffs are going to start to help a couple years down the road because companies are going to want to come back to America, build factories here. But of course, that doesn't happen overnight. That takes time. The stock market isn't going to look that far ahead to look at the long game. People don't like to look that far ahead in the stock market. But what do I do right now? What do I say to do? Do not just buy into something because it's pumping. Keep your emotions in check. Don't get FOMO. Don't panic sell. Have a level head. Invest in companies at a good valuation level. Hold them for a few years, and you'll probably make a bunch of money. When you have a really good play where you feel like the company or the ETF is trading below intrinsic value, you could use options to magnify those gains, whether you buy calls or whether you sell puts. This is how I built my net worth to over $2 million in just a few years. And my strategy works through bear markets, it works through bull markets. I've been through 2022 where the stock market went down like 35, almost 40% for Triple Q. Works totally fine. It's all about having a margin of safety. It's all about only making plays that you have high confidence in, but most people just shoot a dart at a wall, hope that it sticks, and usually they get smoked and then they lose all their money and then they say, I'm never doing the stock market again. I'm still here. I'll be here through bear markets. I'll be here through bull markets. So if you want to go along for the ride with me, that's totally fine. Do whatever you want to do. But what am I going to do? If the market goes up, I'll make money on what I own. And if the market goes down, I'll buy the dip. And I keep it simple. It's so simple. Most people try to complicate it. And that's probably why they get smoked out in the market. So what's the deal with Bitcoin? Like Bitcoin honestly is pumping a lot right now. So what are we going to do with that? So at the time of this recording, Bitcoin's like $99,000. It's just under 100K, the big psychological level of $100,000. Time will tell. We'll see if we push through the 100K level or not. And you guys know that I have one Bitcoin and it's a very small percent of my portfolio. So I'm not really going to buy or sell. I'm not going to trade in and out of Bitcoin. I'm just going to buy it, set it, forget it. I have it on Ledger. No one's ever going to find it. I'm going to just forget about it. And maybe in 20 years from now, it'll be a couple $1,000,000 and I'll be happy. But maybe it'll be zero. We'll see what happens. The reason why Bitcoin's pumping today at the time of recording this video is because Trump nominated Paul Atkins to the SEC. And Paul is pro-crypto and pro-innovation. So this is seen as maybe like less barrier to get into crypto. Maybe there's going to be new ETFs that'll get approved, new leverage, new options, new derivatives. Maybe there'll be ETFs for Solana or really all these other altcoins potentially. That could be good for crypto. But what does that do for the value of Bitcoin itself? I don't know. Maybe it makes it a little bit more accessible for some people. But I feel like there's really no barriers to buy Bitcoin right now. I mean, you leave a comment below. What are your barriers to buy Bitcoin? I know in America, I could buy Bitcoin so easily, it's a non-factor. Maybe if you're in a different country, you can't, but if you're in a different country, what is Paul Atkins to the America SEC going to do for you? I doubt really much, honestly. So nobody knows the future for Bitcoin. The price is based on fear and greed, and the pendulum right now is on the greedy FOMO side. But that can quickly swing back to fear and dump. So keep that in mind with Bitcoin, with any crypto, with stocks. When you're on the greedy side, that's when you see your portfolio going green pretty much every single day. Everyone's super optimistic. Everyone thinks the market's just going to keep going straight up. And guess what? Usually before bear markets and before stock market crashes, everyone is at peak euphoria, super high optimism for the stock market or the crypto market, and then bang, it comes out of nowhere, and then the market just starts to crash. I'm not saying we're going to crash, by the way. You know I have a bunch of money long in the stock market right now, a couple $1,000,000. So I'm just being careful right now. I'm like cautiously optimistic. I think you should be too. That's how I feel. I could be wrong. Do whatever you want with that information. And then I go through the final comments on today. You can read that if you want. I have price targets for a few different companies, some of my favorite new trades. Current value of my trading account you saw was $930,000. Some of these trades I recently closed out last week. I update this every Friday. So last week alone, I closed out roughly $21,000 in trades for realized capital gains. Looking pretty good. And my annualized return since 2023, 167% total. Annualized was 66% per year. I'm this line on the top. Yes, I do have more volatility, but I don't care. Volatility is not risk. Volatility is opportunity. When the market took a dip right here, I was initiating big positions and then bang, I bounced back. Dip right here, bounce back, dip right here, bounce back. That's how I roll. You could also click right here to join my Discord and see my trades in real time. And you could also subscribe to my Alpha Report, 100% free. All the links for this stuff is below, but if you go to the Alpha Report, it'll be right here on the bottom. But if you don't want to do any of that stuff, if you don't want to do my course, just click this video right here. I'm going to show you how I trade stock options, so I'll see you there.